Hey, what's up, Dune fans? Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Ever since the release of Dune 2, I've been just absolutely obsessed with all things Dune, so I knew that I needed to print the Dune Crysknife. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this into this. So I did print this file into 3 different pieces because that was the best way that I could get it to fit on my printer. But now, because I did that, I have to glue it all together and fill the seam. But while I glue the blade together, let me tell you about Mystery Makers. Mystery Makers is where I got this awesome file from, and if you want it, then you can go and become a member of his Patreon. This is an older file, so if you do become a member, you'll have to be a member for 3 months, and then you can request it via his reward program. But it may be quicker just to go on his Etsy page and purchase it from there. But anyway, to fill the seam, I am going to be using this Elmer's wood filler. There are a few different ways that you could fill seams like this. Like, you can use Bondo, but I'm a bit on a wood filler kick right now just because it's less messy and it dries quicker so that you can sand it quicker. I also need to do a little bit of work just to clean up the print. As you can see, I have these little raised sections here that are from where the model was supported, so we're going to use a little bit of 220 grit just to kind of sand those down and remove them. As you can see, I'm running it underwater here, but that's not really something that you absolutely have to do. I'm just doing it to help contain the resin dust, but you could just sand it normal if you wanted to. The blade also had a couple minor layer lines that you can't really see on screen, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those right now too. For the base coats, the handle gets a gloss black and the blade gets a matte white. And then after a day or so of drying and curing time, I'm going to apply some liquid mask to the wooden handle parts just to make sure it doesn't get any overspray. And then for the silver, I'm going to be using an all-clad, I believe it was a polished aluminum out of the airbrush. And this is why I did the gloss black, because it shows up better. And then here's just a little bit of satisfying video of me removing the latex. And now we're getting into some dry brushing, though I'd probably classify this more as a heavy dry brush. I mixed a good bit of black with some burnt umber so that it's really dark to the point where you can't really even see it on the screen right now. But I wanted to work my way from a very dark brown to a lighter brown or a regular brown. And I used the same mixing cup this entire process, and then just would add some white or some bone white or some off-white or just some type of white to make it lighter. And some of these changes are so gradual that in the upper right-hand corner, I did put a number to kind of show you what paint mixture I'm on. And also notice here that the lighter and brown I got, the bigger brush I got, because the lighter I got, the less I wanted it to actually cover. So I moved toward more of a natural dry brush as I got lower in color, to the point where you'll see me here doing the last coat of the, and this is essentially just plain burnt sienna. And I'm using the biggest brush I have, and I have the lightest amount of paint on the brush just to really get those upper highlights. And then here you can just kind of see all of the different mixing and all the different browns that I went through. That second cup there, or maybe it was that cup, I don't remember, was the cup I used to just continuously mix and get a lighter tone. So I had a bit of a realization about something, and that's to do with the blade. I had originally printed out this one. This is the one you've been seeing this entire video. And as you can see, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Okay, there. It's hard to show, but you can kind of see how it's wavy. It's not straight. It would probably be better if I showed you like this. Alright, there you go. That shows it a lot better. So you see how wavy the blade is, and you can see it best from the bottom. From the top, it's not as wavy, but I was under the assumption that this was how the blade was actually supposed to look, but once I printed some more blades, it's not how it's supposed to look. So I had printed and kind of got to this step on another blade, but the more I think about it, I kind of like how this blade looks. It's kind of given its own unique feature, and you know, nobody else is going to have a blade like this. And specifically in the movie, if you're not aware, they have a multitude, I think it's 4 in the first movie and probably well more than that in the second movie, of different crysknives. So none of them are the same. They're all different in pretty big ways, to be honest. So I kind of like having this little random feature of mine, and I think I'm going to keep it. So I guess let me know if I'm making the right decision, because now we're going to paint it. So for the first coat of the blade, we're going to kind of use that same heavy dry brush that we used on the handle. The white base coat did give us a solid starting point, but obviously you don't want it to be fully white. So I took a little bit of bone white and an off-white and mixed them together a little bit, and just kind of very lightly applied it to the blade. But being the big dummy that I am, I did decide that it was a little bit too yellowish, so I mixed the bone white and off-white together a little bit more just to make it a little yellowish, and then I applied that only on the top of the blade. And then from here on out, we're going to be using just washes, which is really just watered down paint, and I essentially did the opposite of what I did on the handle. This time I'm going to be working light to dark rather than doing dark to light like I did on the handle. A good way to know if your washes are watered down enough is that if they don't run, they're too heavy. But when they start to run just a little bit off the side of your cup or whatever you're mixing with, then you know that they're just right. So I'm applying the light brown wash to the bottom of the blade, and then I'm letting it soak in just for a few seconds, and then I'm using a makeup brush to kind of feather it up the blade. And then I'm going to use a paper towel or just any sort of soft device that you have, I guess. And then just kind of lightly wipe away the excess, and then you'll be left with this discolored print. And you keep repeating this until you're happy, and then move on to the next color, which in this case is black, and probably the most prominent color on the blade. But even working my way down from the brown, as you see me wipe it away and kind of feather it away again, I'm trying to feather less, if that makes sense, because I'm trying to, give it actual depth on the blade. And lastly, the bottom of the blade has these little carvings on it, so I'm going to use a little less watered down black just to get into the recesses of these carvings, and then I'm just going to use my finger to wipe them away. And that's going to be just like the last step. You just kind of do it until you're happy. And then the handle also had some little black sections that needed to be washed away, so I'm going to use my finger on those too. Real quick before the final reveal, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If y'all did, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the like button.